A Gwinnett County couple has been indicted by a grand jury on a long list of felony charges. The grand jury accused the couple of forcing their teenager to eat cat food and detergent and causing excessive physical pain during regular beatings. Joe Henke is in Gwinnett County tonight with more on that indictment.
While out of jail on bond and before this indictment was filed, the child's stepfather, the indictment shows, tried communicating with her, said he was sorry the abuse would not happen again, and gave her clothing. It was a violation of his bond. Now the stepfather and mother in this case have both been indicted on a long list of felony charges. Inside their Norcross apartment, a grand jury says stepfather Ramon Lewis and Angela Struthers abused their 13-year-old daughter. The indictment filed in mid-November charges the pair with cruelty to children, battery, and stalking. Gwinnett County's DA's office began investigating after the couple was arrested on only a single count of child cruelty.
It actually came to the attention of Gwinnett County Police Department through the school counselor that noticed that the victim had injuries on her. They had also noticed that she'd been incredibly hungry throughout the year.
In the 20 charges now filed, there are details of the victim being locked in a laundry room for hours at a time without a bathroom. Then there are details of beatings where Lewis is accused of striking the teen with a table leg and metal end of a belt, dropping her on her head and punching her in her head. All of the above resulted in injuries and even scars.
I'm surprised that she was able to do as well as she was given that level of abuse because it was on a daily basis.
In addition to the beatings, the indictment details the girl being fed cat food and forced to swallow detergent. Lewis previously was found guilty of child abuse with his stepdaughter in 2014 in Cobb County and was out of jail on probation. The DA's office is calling the stepfather the primary abuser, but adds the mother also needs to be held accountable.
She would oftentimes relate to Mr. Lewis if the victim had broken the rules that Mr. Lewis had set out, knowing what the consequences of breaking those rules were going to be.
Both face several counts of child cruelty in the first degree, which can carry up to 20 years in prison per count. In Gwinnett County, Joe Henke, 11 Alive News.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Report. And every time I read about a story like this, I always think to myself, Black Lives Matter, where are you? How come Black Lives Matter doesn't show up and picket, tear up, and demand justice be served in a story like this? How come Black Lives Matter doesn't show up to black neighborhoods and confront the issue of black on black crime and how blacks mistreat and abuse their own? How blacks, like these two black savages in today's story, beat, abuse, mistreat a 13-year-old girl. Where are you, Black Lives Matter? I'll tell you where you are. You're spending your money somewhere, in Hawaii or the Hamptons or wherever it is that you're vacationing because your white sugar daddy, the person that you see right there, that's who Black Lives Matter really is. I'm going to tell you black people something. I've said it before. And before I say it, I would really love for some of you Black Lives Matter supporters to answer to what I'm saying, because I would really like to be wrong about these three women. I really would. I would like to be able to do a show and retract everything I've said about Black Lives Matter, everything I've said about the three scam artists that you're looking at right there who have duped Black America, who have duped the black community, who have gotten rich off of their white sugar daddy and have done absolutely nothing for black people. For you Black Lives Matter people who march and demand justice and all of that crap that you march for, what do they have to say about stories like this? What do you have to say about stories like this? And don't give me that crappy excuse about Black Lives Matter was only created to address police brutality. That's a load of crap, because as you can see, we do more damage to each other, far worse, than any police officer has ever done. We abuse each other way more worse than any police officer has ever done. But black people, as I've said before, don't give a damn about other black people's feelings. So you will not show up and protest and loot and riot and march when little 13-year-old black girls are getting abused by black savages like these two. Oh, and by the way, they are 90s babies. Where are you, Black Lives Matter? Where are you, founders of Black Lives Matter, when it comes to black on black violence. Now let's get on with the show. Now, one of the biggest crimes imaginable is after this savage abused this girl and beat this girl and did everything he did to this girl up until he got arrested, because a teacher finally saw so many bruises on this girl that she called the police, and that's how they caught this sack of crap. He was allowed to be released on bond. He posted an $11,200 bond, and he is now, as of this story, out on the streets. After he did all of that to that girl, the system allows him to walk the streets. Hey, John Lewis, you represent Atlanta, don't you? I don't know if this happened in Atlanta, but you represent the Atlanta area. So how come you're not on television talking about it's not right, it's not fair? You talked all that crap about Donald Trump. Where are you, Mr. Civil Rights icon, when it comes to blacks brutalizing other blacks, when it comes to grown black men brutalizing 13-year-old black girls? Let me tell you what you're more concerned with. You see that right there? That's what you're concerned with. You're concerned with being enshrined in history. You want history to remember you like history remembers Dr. Martin Luther King. That's what you're concerned with. You're not concerned about what's going on with black people today and the civil rights that are being violated on black people by black people today. That's too much for you to handle. What's too much for you to handle is the fact that you don't want to admit that for a lot of you civil rights icons, you did all that marching for nothing. You took all those beatings for nothing. You went through everything you went through for black people like this to have the right to beat and torture little 13-year-old girls and then get posted out on bond. That's what you marched for the freedom for black people to be just as savage as the white people that you claim to be savage and have the same rights to be bailed out so they can walk the streets after they do all the psychological and physical damage that they do to black girls. And you people wonder why, you black people wonder why, when I say things like, I hope a couple of white cops roll up on this chump and I hope they put their boots up his ass because he's black, because I do not care. Don't talk to me about white people and white cops being racist when your own people are out here doing acts like this. If this were a white man and he just sent you all like the white people do it too crap. If that was a white man, if he was a white stepfather who beat and abused a 13-year-old black girl like this, it would be all over the news. You would be all over the streets marching for justice. Where are you when it comes to stuff like this? Don't talk to me about how I talk about black people, because I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I will continue to say what it is I say. And if you don't like it, then show me the proof. Otherwise, shut me up. Otherwise, if you can prove to me that what I'm saying is not true, I will shut this show down, because it means I would be telling lies, and it's not going to happen. So where are you, John Lewis? How come you're not talking about this? You're more concerned with murals being painted on the sides of buildings than you are looking out for the interests of 13-year-old black girls getting abused by savages. And the worst thing about this is that that is her stepfather, which means her mother allowed another man to come into her life and abuse a child that doesn't even belong to him. I covered it before in a previous show. Some of you women are so desperate for a man that you are willing to put the safety and welfare of your own children, your own blood, so you can have some penis shoved up in your vagina. That's what it amounts to. Where are you, Simone Sanders? Where are you, Michael Eric Dyson? Where are you, Al Sharpton? Where are you, Ice Cube? If there's any example of a knife being twisted into someone, this man took a knife and twisted that knife into that 13-year-old girl. And and on top of that, this wasn't just something that was occurring now. He's been doing this to this girl since she was 10 years old. But that knife twisting doesn't matter, does it, Ice Cube? There are 4 things I'd like you to take with you from today's show. Number 1, Black Lives Matter is the biggest scam pulled over the eyes of black America in the last decade. Those three women suckered you, black America, and they are living off of your pain, off of your anguish, off of your misery, up in the Hamptons or up in Hollywood or up on the beach somewhere because their white sugar daddy funded them to keep you oppressed. Number two, fuck you, John Lewis, and fuck any civil rights icon that doesn't have the guts to address black on black crime, to address black on black hatred, to address the fact that today's blacks are more savage towards each other than any white person has ever been. You, Michael Eric Dyson, Simone Sanders, and all you other black pseudo-intellectuals who like to skate and dance around the issue of black on black violence need to get a grip, need to get some reality, or shut the fuck up and move on. Number three, Ramon Lewis or Ramon Lewis, whatever. How about child abusing asshole? That's a better name for you. I hope some street justice catches up with your black ass, specifically in the form of two of the most racist white nigger hating cops that the state of Georgia has ever seen. I hope they put their boots up your black ass, if not them, somebody. And number four, for you blacks that don't like what I say, how I say it, despite the fact that I am telling you the truth, you better pray that I never make it off of YouTube, because if I do, I am coming for black America, the niggers of black America, specifically guns blazing and head hunting. This is KTM and the Wake Up Report saying, think a little bit. It will do wonders for you.